Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode Behind the Wealth. Today, we have another session Q&A with Glenda Portelli, our practice manager in Silver & Young. Before we go ahead and have a discussion, I would like to make the normal statement or expected statement of anything we say today. It is a general advice and it's not specific advice for you. So if you have any questions, please call our office 0296007760 and ask for your particular circumstances, or call your accountant or your financial planner or email us. So Glenda, welcome back to our Q&A. And I'm not sure how long ago did we have the previous Q&A?
I think it was about a year. Ago.
Well, time is flying.
It is.
And I think I have more gray hair now when I can see myself, but I skipped that part. Okay. So what is the subject today?
So recently, Dimitri, we've been fielding a lot of questions surrounding being a guarantor. So I thought, who better to ask than our master and in-house financial planner, yourself. So the first question that I have is, what does it mean to be a guarantor?
A guarantor is a very common or more common than we think situation that it happens between two parties, usually between parents and children. And the children want to acquire an asset or acquire a business, but they don't have enough assets to do that, or they don't have enough serviceability to service that loan, and ask the parents who are more established financially to become a guarantors to the bank. When the bank lends the money to them, the parents become a guarantor to the bank that if the child, the son-in-law, the daughter-in-law doesn't pay the loan, the bank will go after the parents, the guarantors, to secure the loan. And another common situation is between friends, between brothers and sisters, when they buy the first property of a young adult, and the parents want the child to buy that property, and maybe he or she has enough deposits, but it doesn't have enough not to pay the mortgage insurance, then they become a guarantor to accommodate that need.
Okay. So apart from, you mentioned bloodline, like parents and brothers and sisters, apart from family, who else can become a guarantor?
Strictly speaking, anyone can be a guarantor, but the banks like to have to be a benefit for the person who goes as a guarantor. And the benefit not always is a financial benefit. It could be an emotional benefit. It could be a relationship benefit. So imagine now, mom and dad want to help the young boy to start his own business. He's 25 years old. He wants to be, and to start his own business in air conditioning. Then they go a guarantor to help them secure a loan or secure a rental property for him or she or her to start a business. So it could be also friends. It could be also relatives, but the bank wants to have that line up to a benefit financially and or emotionally. And emotionally, it is usually bloodline people who have a serious relation or the other significant half.
You've got me thinking here, Dimitri. Could it be a boss?
Could be a boss. Although I don't recommend it because it will really affect the relationship. Yes.
Okay. Question withdrawn. Moving on. What are the special considerations that like if I was asked to be a guarantor, what are the things that I should think about? What are the fundamental things that I should think about before I agree to being a guarantor?
Number one, you need to be aware of all the conditions of what you guarantee for. I mean, you're going guarantor for, say, if it's a mortgage of the property, how big is the mortgage? What is the circumstances if it's not be paid? So what is your worst case scenario? Is everything goes wrong? What is you end up that you'll be liable? So if you go, for example, for a loan, and the loan is, I don't know, $600,000. I mean, the person you guarantee $600,000 loan, and you go guarantor, you're liable for this $600,000 loan. If you guarantee, say, for example, to pay the rent on commercial property or industrial property because your son wants to open a business, then you will guarantee that rent for the next 3 years, say, of the lease. So this is the worst case scenario. You need to be aware of that. Secondly, it is the person you want to go to be a guarantor. I mean, it is reliable, it's not reliable, it is too much emotional, it is potentially able for that person or this couple to pay off the loan and manage the loan. Do you know all the facts? Are you aware of everything else? A lot of these things happen on emotional base. Say, for example, mom and dad, they have the daughter marry a younger fellow, he's a taxi driver, he wants to buy a taxi. So you need to understand, is that person capable to drive the taxi properly? Is reliable? Is done this before, or just is a dream, or to go in his own business? So you need to find out what is the worst case scenario, and if they're capable to do that. And this is the difficult part, because the emotion comes a lot in that. And you know what is the most difficult thing? To say no.
Yeah.
Because you're offending them. You don't trust me. But it's not that I don't trust you. Maybe I don't trust your abilities to do what you want to do at this stage of your life. It's not about you, but about your ability at this stage of your life today, when you are 25, for example. But maybe in 3 years' time, you'll be a lot more capable to do what you want to do. So there is a lot of friction of that. It's emotional. I find a lot of times emotional blackmail, actually. And the parents are very, you really push to the corner, not to say no. So they have to say yes.
And does it, let's say I agree to be that guarantor, does it affect me personally if I in 5 years' time want to go and buy a house? Does it affect my ability to borrow money?
It does affect your ability substantially, because when you're going to buy a house, say you go guarantor for example, I don't know, your sister, your brother, and they bought a house, you know, you go and guarantor for an extra $300,000-400,000 or $500,000. When you go to borrow your own funds to invest for primary residency or business or investment, the bank asks you specifically if you are a guarantor to any loan. And then what they do, if you are, then they consider this as a part of your serviceability ability, the ability to service any loan, plus that loan that you already be guarantor, because for them, consider a risk associated with you. The funny thing is, this risk, you don't have any benefit for you financially, but you have all the financial risk. And if they don't pay, you have to pay. And so it's part of your borrowing capacity and your when assessing the loan. So you very easily can go guarantor to a loan when you are, say, 30, and because you're happy to help your sister, your brother, whoever is this person. And at 35, your circumstances changes, and you want to borrow and you want to do something else, and this sitting on the side, draining you. And then these people cannot get you out of the guarantor because the circumstances still are difficult, and you're stuck.
Actually, that's another question I wanted to ask you, Dimitri, is if I agree to be a guarantor today and in 5 years' time, I want to buy that house, but I'm guarantor for something that I don't believe I should be guarantor for, or it's affecting my ability to borrow, can I get out of it? What's the process? You
cannot get out. They have to refinance that loan, and the new financier assess them on their own right, without your financial strength around it, without your equity or your serviceability towards that loan. So they have to be assessed. And say, for example, in an environment like today, where the interest rate goes up, The person who guaranteed that loan is a more difficult situation to get out when the interest was 2% compared to the interest now is say 5%. So suddenly it becomes also the value. If the value dropped of the property, for example, if it was a guarantor for a property, then the reason that you became a guarantor is because you probably needed to give more security because they borrow 80% or 85%. Then it is dropped, so you can't get out.
It sounds like there's a lot of people sweating while these interest rates go up.
Yes, and it's also beyond that. What about if you go guarantor to a young couple, which could be, of course, bloodline, your son, your daughter, with your son-in-law, your daughter-in-law, and they're divorced. And then on the divorce, there is always a dispute. No, I don't pay, no, you pay, no, I put more, no, you put more, all this. And then suddenly what it happens, they don't pay the loan. They don't pay the repayments. You sat with a baby on your lap, which is the mortgage. Nobody pays because they can't pay or they dispute the payment. And why should they pay when he has to pay? Or why should I pay when she has to pay? And I earn more income and she earns more income. Why should I do this and that? And you are in the middle like in a sandwich. And you holding the baby. The bank doesn't care. After a while, they will chase the primary, of course, borrowers. And when they give up, or one of them goes bankrupt, who are they going to pay their attention? To the next person who guarantee, which is going to be you.
Yeah. Okay, you've given everybody a lot to think about there, Dimitri. Thank you for answering all of our questions. And that's it from me. That's all the questions I have.
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
Before you do such a position, you take such a position, you really need to talk to someone, like a financial planner or an accountant. And he's going to play the role of the negative role, why you shouldn't do that. This conversation, it could save you a lot of money in the future. Of course, if the person you want to become a guarantor for them, your family member, this is a capable and it is something really you believe as well. There's not so much negative. There's a lot of positives of that. And I've seen this in real life, that people moved faster by the parents going as a guarantor because they are capable young people to progress in life. So it's not all doom and gloom, but there is also doom and gloom. And I give you this example. I know a couple who went as guarantors for their kid, her daughter-in-law, where her husband was a taxi driver. And then the taxis, what happened 10 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 2 years ago, with Uber, the price dropped to nothing. From $300,000 became $150,000, and now for a little while it becomes nobody wants to buy a taxi driver. And then what it happens, financial crisis inside the couple divorced, and the people lost their house, and the people now in housing commission after working in shops for 30, 40 years. So this is a real example. So don't underestimate this, because this is things happens beyond your control. You cannot control what the other person do with his life, with his job, if he has the same values as you for work values, circumstances in the economy. But your nest that you built it over the years by paying off your home and saving for your super goes like this very quickly. And the emotional part, it is the most difficult to deal. It's easy to deal with the finance, with the numbers. You go to an accountant, most people are more than capable to understand the risks. The difficult thing is to deal with the emotional part of the transaction. And this is the hard thing that nobody can tell you. You need to deal by yourself. But long as you understand all the negatives and why you do that, then you'll be more equipped to validate the transaction and be part of that transaction.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Dimitri.
Okay. Thank you very much, Glenda, for being part of Q&A again for Private Wealth.
My pleasure.
And till next time, we see everyone to the next episode. If you have any questions, please call us on 9600-7760 or email us at pw@silveryoung.com.au. And for any financial questions, please call us or email us. Till next time, have a good day.